You might be shedding pounds, but still find yourself struggling with a stubborn belly. Why does that happen? Because abdominal fat isn't just that soft, pinchable layer right beneath your skin.
A large portion of it is actually visceral fat, a hidden, dangerous type of fat that wraps itself tightly around your internal organs, squeezing your stomach, liver, and pancreas. This deep fat is the primary culprit behind the modern chronic diseases that are quietly harming us today. Visceral fat is the engine driving conditions like type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, heart disease, and even certain types of cancer. But here is the silver lining. While visceral fat is incredibly dangerous, it is also the easiest type of fat to burn off once you understand exactly how to target it. In this video, I am going to break down the absolute fastest strategies to specifically zero in on visceral fat and melt it away. We are going to cover the exact foods and drinks you need to add to your daily routine, followed by the specific exercises that deliver the absolute biggest return on your investment. Best foods and drinks? Let's kick things off with nutrition, because what you put on your plate every single day is either feeding that deep belly fat or starving it out. One of your most potent weapons in this fight? Carotenoid-rich foods. Carotenoids are simply the natural plant pigments responsible for the vibrant colors in your produce. They make carrots orange, give tomatoes their rich red, and provide spinach with its deep, earthy green. But they are much more than just food coloring. Carotenoids are incredibly potent antioxidants. This matters because visceral fat accumulation is often triggered by an energy surplus that creates inflammation and wrecks your metabolism. Carotenoids step in to reduce this oxidative stress by neutralizing free radicals, which are unstable molecules that damage our cells. By clearing out free radicals, carotenoids actually help stabilize your genetics. In fact, they can literally switch on the genes responsible for burning fat while quieting down the ones that command your body to store it. Consider a fascinating, double-blind, randomized trial conducted in Japan. Researchers wanted to see if eating carotenoids impacted visceral fat. After just 8 weeks of consuming vegetables packed with these compounds, participants saw a significant drop in visceral fat. The group eating high lycopene and low lutein, mostly carrots and specific cabbage, saw great results, but the main takeaway is that all groups eating carotenoid-rich veggies lost deep belly fat. So how do you load up on them? Just look for your favorite colorful produce: sweet potatoes, bell peppers, squash, spinach, and carrots. If a fruit or vegetable is brightly colored, it's highly likely to be packed with fat-fighting carotenoids. Next up on the nutrition side is a unique compound you need to target: catechins. These are flavonoid polyphenols that also behave as powerful inflammation-fighting antioxidants. My absolute favorite way to get my daily dose of catechins is by brewing green tea. You've probably heard the claim that green tea burns fat, and the truth is, it absolutely does. It works because catechins fundamentally alter how your body manages fat, specifically the visceral kind. They do this through several pathways. First, catechins supercharge your energy expenditure and fat oxidation by stimulating your nervous system to burn more calories and ramp up your baseline metabolism. Furthermore, they inhibit specific fat processing enzymes, like lipase, meaning they physically block some of the dietary fat you eat from even being absorbed in your gut. To make things even better, the natural caffeine found in green tea works in perfect harmony with catechins, creating a synergistic effect that amplifies that fat burning. Another randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial from Japan proved this perfectly. It revealed that drinking catechin-enriched green tea, around 600 milligrams daily for just 12 weeks, led to a massive reduction in visceral fat. Just keep in mind that while most green teas contain these compounds, minimally processed varieties like Matcha or Sencha are your best bet for maximizing the benefits. Ultimately, anything that puts you in a calorie deficit will help you drop total weight and belly fat, but emphasizing these specific foods and drinks acts as a major catalyst to get you there faster. The right exercise. Once your nutrition is dialed in, the right exercise routine becomes your magical multiplier. Honestly, performing the correct type of exercise is a massive non-negotiable if you want to eliminate visceral fat rapidly. A massive meta-analysis reviewing 117 different studies found that while diet strongly drives overall body weight loss, exercise has a significantly superior impact when it comes to exclusively shrinking visceral fat. Let's look at an older but incredibly eye-opening study showing how a surprisingly small dose of the right movement works wonders. Participants did just 2, 4, 5-minute cycling sessions a week at 75% of their VO, 2 peak for 2 months. The outcome? A staggering 48% reduction in visceral fat. That is nearly half their deep belly fat gone in just 8 weeks. Not only that, but their insulin sensitivity skyrocketed by 41%, and they dropped 18% of their subcutaneous fat. And get this, they weren't doing agonizing, elite-level workouts. Because they measured intensity by VO2 peak rather than absolute VO2 max, these average participants were likely working in a low to moderate intensity zone, roughly 70% to 80% of their maximum heart rate. This is the kind of workout where you can still speak in full sentences, but you definitely sound winded. Another crucial takeaway from this research is that the participants' total body weight barely changed. They experienced dramatic improvements in dropping visceral fat and fixing their metabolic health, yet the scale didn't budge. I emphasize this with my patients constantly. Please do not get discouraged if you are doing all the right things with your nutrition and movement, but the scale refuses to move. More often than not, the scale is a terrible indicator of your actual progress because it cannot distinguish between losing fat mass and changing your overall body composition. So, exactly what kind of exercise burns visceral fat the fastest? A recent systematic review analyzing 84 randomized controlled trials concluded that vigorous intensity aerobic exercise and high-intensity interval training, HIIT, are the undisputed champions for this specific goal. While resistance training, lifting weights, remains absolutely essential for maintaining muscle mass and supporting your overall metabolism, it simply isn't as efficient as cardio for rapid visceral fat loss. If your primary goal over the next few months is melting the belly fat, it is better to dial up the cardio. When debating between HIIT and steady-state aerobic exercise, the science shows no massive difference. Direct comparisons reveal both modalities are incredibly effective for adults, with no statistically significant winner between the two. If we really want to split hairs in the data, some literature suggests running might slightly edge out cycling during HIIT, and HIIT might be marginally better for kids and young adults under 24. But frankly, that nuance doesn't matter. At the end of the day, whether you choose HIIT, steady-state aerobics, cycling, running, rowing, or even dancing, the absolute best exercise is the one you will actually stick with. Consistency will obliterate a perfect plan every single time. A textbook HIIT protocol that you absolutely dread and only do twice a month will always lose to a brisk, enjoyable walk that you gladly do several times a week. Based on the available studies, your ideal protocol is finding an activity you can do 2 to 3 times a week for about 45 minutes a session. Whatever you pick, just make sure you hit that moderate to vigorous intensity threshold around 70% to 80% of your max capacity. If you don't want to track your heart rate, just use the simple talk test. Moderate intensity means you can speak full sentences, but sound breathless. Vigorous intensity means you can only get out a few words before needing to gasp for air. The most beautiful part about exercise is that it is heavily dose-dependent, meaning the more effort you put in, the greater the results. A recent study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine highlighted that participants who exercised more frequently or at higher intensities saw proportionally larger drops in deep belly fat. Interestingly, extreme dieting does not have this same dose-dependent effect. There is a strict limit to how much cutting calories will help before the benefits completely flatline. So, you absolutely do not need to starve yourself to lose belly fat. In fact, it's the opposite. Eat enough high-quality calories to maintain a slight deficit, and simply ramp up your physical activity if you want to accelerate your visceral fat loss. All right, I hope this was helpful. Stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.